business owner, you own restaurants, and this is the crisis has had an effect on you, on the people who work for you. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Absolutely. Thank you, President-elect Biden and your staff for taking the time today to talk to American workers and me, the lone small business owner. Successful small business owners have one thing in common, and that's our willingness to do whatever it takes. This keeps us not very far removed from the other people on this call. But let me share with you what I'm going through right now. My name is Dan Jacobs, and I am a member of the IRC, which is the Independent Restaurant Coalition, HUA, Hospitality United Associations, and the co-founder of MERC, Milwaukee's Independent Restaurant Coalition. These organizations did not exist pre-COVID, but they came together in response to the pandemic to help navigate and find the best possible solutions to keeping our vibrant restaurant and bar communities together and to help find a solution to the economic fallout of COVID-19. My partner, Dan Van Wright, and I, we own and operate the JVR Hospitality Group here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. On March 1st, our group consisted of 90 plus employees, with 80% of them being full-time, 3 restaurants, a bakery, a restaurant consulting organization, and a Dan kiosk at the Pfizer Forum with the Milwaukee Bucks play. Today, due to COVID, we've had to reduce our staff to 26 employees, with only 12 of them being full-time. We're left with 2 restaurants, Dan and Esterev, having been forced to permanently close the bakery Batches and our French restaurant, Fauntleroy, because of a 91% revenue loss. Since June 1st, here at Dan and Esterev, we've lost another $700,000 worth of revenue. Unfortunately, the story isn't unique, not among the 500,000 plus independent restaurants or the countless small businesses across the country. I worry about our future as a company, but I mostly worry about the future of our team, as well as the workers of our industry and small businesses nationwide who are furloughed right now and whose UI benefits are set to run out already have. Our business initially missed out on the first round of PPP, but in the end, we did receive a PPP and an EIDL loan in May and in June. While these 2 programs helped, they just act as a Band-Aid to slow losses and furloughs. These programs are not answers to our deepening small business economic problems. For restaurants specifically, the PPP program falls far short. Only 8% of restaurants, or 8% of the businesses that received PPP loans were restaurants. However, our industry was the hardest hit, mainly because restaurants' first or second largest expense is our food and beverage costs, and these are not eligible as grant expenses. Our company personally exhausted our PPP loan in October. We closed our patios. I mean, it's winter here in Milwaukee, which I'm sure you know about Scranton winters. It's pretty much the same. Add that to the exploding COVID positivity rate that's come to form a perfect storm of loss of revenue for businesses. And then on top of that, the loss of jobs for the American workforce that were propped up by those PPP loans. As winter approached, we spent $20,000 to make our restaurant as safe as possible for our team and for our guests. But that money just seems like a waste now, as it's just not safe to be indoors with people that aren't in your bubble. We are worse off right now than we were in March. At least in March, there was hope, and there was a feeling that we were all in this together. Now we look toward a long winter that's here or knocking on the door with a feeling of true desperation. Last month alone, my company lost $23,000. At this rate, we will make our obligations, having to continue to get real scrappy, real inventive through March or April. But after that, our continued operation is not guaranteed or even possible without some help. This is the big one, Mr. President-elect. If there's one point that I hope that you take away from today, it's that we as small business owners, like our workforce, cannot have that help come in the form of taking on more debt. We need grant help, and we need that grant help now. Luckily, there's programs out there like the Restaurant Act, which has bipartisan support in the Senate, including co-sponsored by your Vice President-elect Kamala Harris, and has passed through the House of Representatives. The Restaurant Act would immediately help independent restaurants across the country. Independent restaurants account for 11 plus million workers, plus another 6 million workers just outside our bubble. Think about bakers, fishermen, farmers, foragers. These are the people that work outside of us. Restaurant and bars are a lot of the time people's first and last jobs in our workforce. So many people have passed through our industry, including former presidents like Abraham Lincoln, who was a bartender in Illinois. I love that story. I want the opportunity to bring my bartenders back and give them the tools to be their best selves, because who knows, the next one could be the next Joe Biden. The state of Wisconsin, the state state of Wisconsin, though, the Restaurant Act would be absolutely huge. We understand the necessity to shut down now and stay safe right now for us to get through this winter with a very minimum loss of life. But the post-vaccine world is where our economy needs us most. The Restaurant Act would allow us to bridge to a post-vaccine world where we could get our staffs back to work, to galvanize Wisconsin tourism industry, encouraging travelers to eat in Wisconsin's establishments, visit our tourist attractions, go to our retail shops, and take in a show at maybe one of our local independent concert venues, which selfishly I miss the most. The Restaurant Act would allow independent restaurants to continue to be the gateway to cultures and neighborhoods throughout our country. It will allow us to be the great engine of our economy. 90 cents of every dollar that comes into a restaurant goes right back out the door to fuel an economic ecosystem of bakers, farmers, butchers, foragers, all the way to electricians and carpenters, to that Cisco truck driver transporting food across the country, and then all of the things he or she touches along the way. Finally, Mr. President-elect, small business owners are some of the most creative people out here. We have to constantly pivot and repivot, adapting to an ever-changing disease that we didn't bring on. As an industry, restaurant and bars have never asked for a handout. We are always the companies that charity organizations come to for donations first. Whether it's feeding the hungry or just donating our time and energy to causes diverse and vast, we answer that call because it's simply the right thing to do. For most of us, all we know is hospitality. Hospitality is defined as the friendly and generous reception and entertainment of guests, visitors, and strangers. And we do this because we love taking care of people. All I'm asking is that you give us the tools to succeed, to get back to what we do best, which is hospitality. We just want to reach the crazy end of this chapter of American history together. You know, and I think you said something, give me the ability to tell our staffs that everything is going to be okay, just like somebody gave you or your father the ability to say that. I want to be able to do that for my staff. Thanks again for your time and for hearing me today.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you so much. We're going to go to Georgia now and hear from Jessica Gavin. You and your mom both work as a stagehand and a rigger. Can you tell us a little bit about how the state of the economy has affected you in your life?